All right, is everybody ready to talk about some literary devices that have to do with Romeo and Juliet? This is part one of our literary device saga, and these are the words that you need to know for, well, all of Romeo and Juliet, but also for The Lion King, which is our warm-up for Romeo and Juliet in terms of being able to identify these literary devices. So our first word that we're talking about is monologue. A monologue is a long speech by one single character that is spoken while other people are on stage with them.
They're so different.
Okay, so this is an example of a monologue from The Devil Wears Prada.
Something funny? No, nothing's, it's just that both those belts look exactly the same to me. I'm still learning about this stuff and,
This stuff? Oh, okay. I see. You think this has nothing to do with you. You go to your closet and you select, I don't know, that lumpy blue sweater, for instance, because you're trying to tell the world that you take yourself too seriously to care about what you put on your back. But what you don't know is that that sweater is not just blue. It's not turquoise. It's not lapis. It's actually cerulean. You're also blithely unaware of the fact that in 2002, Oscar de la Renta did a collection of cerulean gowns, and then I think it was Yves Saint Laurent, wasn't it, who showed cerulean military jackets? I think we need a jacket here. And then cerulean quickly showed up in the collections of 8 different designers. And then it filtered down through the department stores and then trickled on down into some tragic casual corner where you no doubt fished it out of some clearance bin. However, that blue represents millions of dollars and countless jobs. And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when in fact you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room.
Okay, so that's an example of a monologue because in the movie, Meryl Streep pretty much puts Anne Hathaway in her place. And if you've ever seen it, Meryl Streep has a very dominant personality, and this monologue would make more sense. But because there are other people who are on stage listening to Meryl Streep talk, that makes it a monologue, and also because of the fact that she was talking for such a long period of time. Okay, second word that you need to know is soliloquy. Soliloquy is like monologue, but just remember, solo means you're doing it alone. Like if you go to a dance solo, you're going by yourself. So a soliloquy is a long speech made by one single character that reveals his or her private thoughts and emotions, and it is spoken when the character is on stage alone and they are talking to the audience. So the only other people present during a soliloquy in a play would be the people sitting in the chairs in the audience. And this is an example from Macbeth, where Lady Macbeth wants her husband to murder the king, and she basically summons all these evil spirits to take over her body so that she will have the power to convince her husband of what he needs to do. And it's a very sinister and dark soliloquy.
Raven himself is hoarse, that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits, that tend on mortal thoughts. Unsex me here.
Okay, so you get the point. She's pretty dark and twisted, but she's the only one who's on stage here, and she is revealing her inner desires to be evil so that she can convince her husband to murder the king. Okay, thirdly, we have what's called an aside. An aside is a quick comment made by a character that is directed at the audience, but it is not heard by the other characters on stage. So in order for there to be an aside, there has to be other characters on stage, but those people do not hear whatever the person speaking the aside says. Frequently, it's used to provide information to the audience and to reveal private thoughts of characters. And here's an example from Saved by the Bell.
There you are, Zach. I've been looking all over for you. Time out!
Man, this is horrible. I just meant to get a car. If I don't find a way out of this, my life at Bayside is over. Time in.
So when Zach said time out, that marked the beginning of the aside, and then he was able to talk directly to the viewers, which is the audience, the people watching the television episode, without the other characters knowing what he was saying. And Saved by the Bell is known for lots of Zach Morris asides. Okay, then we have what is called a pun. A pun is a funny play on words. So you have some pictures here as examples, like I built this with my bare hands, or a bear. Your qualifications are completely irrelevant, meaning irrelevant as in they don't matter, and elephant because the picture of an elephant. Duh. And then thirdly, I'll pack your things. I will pack, but it's an alpaca. Ha 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 ha. But I also have a funny Kmart commercial for you. See if you can identify the puns in this.
Ship my pants. Right here? Ship my pants, you're kidding. You can ship your pants right here. You hear that? I can ship my pants for free.
Wow, I just may ship my pants.
Yeah, ship your pants. Billy, you can ship your pants too.
I can't wait to ship my pants, Dad.
I just shipped my pants and it's very convenient.
Very convenient.
I just shipped my drawers.
I just shipped my nightie.
I just shipped my bed.
If you can't find what you're looking for in store, we'll find it at Kmart.com right now and ship it to you for free.
Okay, so obviously they're talking about the convenience of shipping products from Kmart, and the punniness of this is slightly inappropriate. And the reason I think that it's accurate or it works to use this as an introduction to puns for Shakespeare is because Shakespeare's puns are generally inappropriate. Because usually his puns and innuendos are in reference to sexual things, which that was one of the main ways that he entertained his audience back in the day in the Globe Theater. Okay, then we have what's called alliteration. Alliteration is a sound device that authors use to emphasize certain sounds and make it sound more poetic. It's the repetition of consonant or vowel sounds at the beginning of words, such as the slimy, slithering snake snuck across the salty seacoast. The S sound is repeated. Or if I were to say Aunt Annie's alligator from Dr. Seuss, the A sound is repeated. But if I were to say the three words kick, knock, and knee, that would not be alliteration. While all three of those words begin with the letter K, it is not the same K sound because knock and knee begin with an N sound. So it's not just that the words begin with the same letter, they have to begin with the same sound. Okay, assonance is similar, so we're going to work on being able to identify the difference between alliteration and assonance. Assonance is a repetition of vowel sounds in the middle of neighboring words. So examples, mad as a hatter, fly high as a kite. The A sounds are repeated and the I sounds are repeated. But if you notice, fly, that word ends in a Y, but because it's the I sound, it still qualifies as assonance. And then thirdly, you have consonance. Consonance is the repetition of consonant sounds. That's why it's called consonance. But this is in the middle and at the end of two or more neighboring words. So two examples. The reject ejected the project. The J sound is repeated in that one. And secondly, there's a wocket in my pocket from Dr. Seuss. And the kit sound at the end is repeated for both of those words. Okay, then we have foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is a technique the playwright uses to provide clues or hints about something that will happen later in the story. And those of you who like to watch scary movies will know that scary movies use foreshadowing to let readers, viewers know when something bad is about to happen through the weather, through music, or by showing you something. The example here on the screen says, when Ruth Jones's alarm clock woke her at 7 o'clock that morning, she had no idea that today would be the longest day of her life. So that's telling us that something bad was going to happen in Ruth Jones's day to make it the longest day of her life. And here is an example from a movie. Okay, so when she was looking down at the eggs, that was foreshadowing that she was going to go down there and try to save them, which was silly on her part, by the way, because how was she going to save them? But anyway, that was her mother instinct. Right before that, the part that they didn't show in the clip, there was foreshadowing also, because when Marlin and his wife came out of the anemone, all the other fish were gone and it was a little bit darker. So that mood and setting change was foreshadowing that something bad was about to happen. Okay, allusions are references to a mythological, literary, or historical person, place, or thing. And some examples of famous allusions. The girl's love of sweets was her Achilles' heel. And Achilles' heel is an allusion to Achilles from Greek mythology. Harriet Tubman was called the Moses of her time. And that is an allusion to Moses from the Old Testament of the Bible. And then the last one there, it must have rained for 40 days and 40 nights. And again, that's an allusion to the Great Flood in the Bible. So most commonly, allusions are made to Greek mythology, to famous literature like Shakespeare, or to some other famous person, place, or thing, or to the Bible is another big one that authors will make allusions to. But just remember, in order for it to be an allusion, whatever is being alluded to cannot actually be in the story you're reading itself. It's just a reference to them. And that's where we're going to stop for the part 1 of the Lion King literary terms. And there will be a part 2. So stay tuned.